So this is a big reason why I'm always wary of acquisitions. So now that Microsoft has acquired Bethesda, they're shutting down several of the studios that they acquired. Not selling them, but shutting them down. This includes Arcane Austin, which did have a pretty disastrous flop with Redfall, even though there's a good chance it really wasn't their fault. I mean, they can clearly make good games, like look at Prey. But also Tango Gameworks, which had a huge success with Hi-Fi Rush not long ago. They're also the makers of The Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo, which were also successes. It sucks, and this is something that we've seen before. It wasn't that long ago that we saw something similar happen with Embracer Group, a company whose whole goal was seemingly to just sweep up a ton of studios, presumably to get more investors, just to shut down several of these studios when things didn't go as planned. I'm still surprised that Gearbox was able to survive this and get sold rather than closed, because many studios weren't as lucky. But almost every time a big acquisition happens, you see people celebrate that their favorite IPs are going to get more resources, and presumably end up better, except that rarely ever happens. Instead, you get more layers of bureaucracy where people with little to no idea of how games work push their plans on how to make more money. I mean, that's kind of always an issue with large games, but the more layers there are above the studio, the bigger of an issue that becomes. That's how we end up with games like Redfall or the Saints Row reboot and so on. You know, video games are big business, which means you have a lot of people getting involved just to make money. They don't care about the products. It's just sad, really. You know, like the type of people we're talking about are like John Riccitiello, who has had some of the most infamous monetization schemes, period. You know, he was the guy who suggested that players be charged for bullets in Battlefield. You know, to quote, "When you are 6 hours into playing Battlefield and you run out of ammo in your clip, and we ask you for $1 to reload, you're really not that price sensitive at that point in time." That would ruin the game entirely, and anybody with just the tiniest amount of experience with the game would immediately recognize that. This person does not know about video games, but yet they went on to become the CEO of Unity and made that horrible decision to charge for installations that basically made everybody switch to different game engines and completely tanked their stock. But yeah, it sucks to see these types of people have more influence over games nowadays. So yeah, this whole situation just kind of sucks. You know, personally, I think what they should have had Arcane Austin do instead of Redfall was work on a Prey sequel or an immersive sim spin-off of Fallout or even the Elder Scrolls. You know, Bethesda owns these big IPs that they just aren't fully utilizing, and instead somebody had the idea to make Arcane Austin make a type of game that they aren't known to make and is known to have issues. You know, live service games are pretty hit or miss. And at this point are something that most gamers are hoping these companies move away from, but they seem to be doubling down on. And the reason why they're doubling down on them is because when they work really well in terms of profit. You know, live service mobile games are probably the most profitable video games right now, which is kind of crazy to think about, but that's just how it is. So the more big business types that you see getting involved, the more you're going to see games move in that direction because they see that that's what's profitable, that's what they want. They don't care if the game's good, they care about how much money they make, which I think is basically shooting yourself in the foot. The best way to make money is by making a good product. Like we've seen this time and time again over centuries, really. There are obviously notable exceptions, but they're exceptions for a reason. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more, subscribe. See you next time.
Things didn't go as planned.